You guys ready? Let's do some Gamemaker. Let's talk about the essence of a platform game. So the essence of a platform game is to have, we're going to have two objects, a hero and a block. The hero is going to have a gravity applied to it. And so gravity is applied, so the object will fall, but if it collides with the block underneath it, it will stop. You will be able to move it to the left, move it to the right, and when we press the up button, it's going to jump up. Okay, so that's what we're going to do now. So you get Gamemaker open, and let's add a couple of sprites and a couple of objects in one room. Okay, so I added a smiley face for my hero. Now I'm going to add a block, and what we're going to do is this particular block, we're going to make it visible to begin with, but then later on we're going to make it invisible, and I'll show you what you can do with it. It's pretty cool. So instead of finding a sprite, I'm going to click Edit a Sprite. I'm going to create a new one and just fill it with black so we can see it. So I click Edit Sprite. I choose File, New. And we're going to do 32 by 32 for now, but you can change that later. You will see that it's blank. There's nothing in it. So I double-click it. I get the paint bucket. And I'm just going to fill it in with black. So it's going to be a black square. Now, you could put your own sprite in there if you want, but I'm just going to have a black square because this is just going to be for demonstration purposes only. So let's add our objects. So we're going to create two objects, one for the hero, one for the block. Let's do the block first because it does nothing. It just sits there. It is visible, and we're going to make it solid. Click OK. You're back up. Okay. So we'll create the hero object, right-click on objects, OBJ hero, and now comes the fun. We're going to choose our sprite, and now we're going to have some events here. And the number one thing is gravity needs to be applied all the time, right? So it's not like we can just turn off gravity, although that would be a kind of a cool little Easter egg feature you can have. And I would have some fun with it. But we're going to add an event, and since gravity should be on all the time, we're going to make it the step event. So it's always going to happen. So we're going to do step. Now, on the step event, what we're going to do is we're going to be checking to see if we're in the air. If we are, we're going to set the gravity so we fall. And then if there is something underneath us, we will stop. Okay? So the overall overview of that is in my little PDF file, Object Hero Gravity. So we're going to check to see if a position is collision-free. If it is, we're going to set the gravity. So we're going to look for positions underneath us. So we're looking for a Y position of 1. And remember, Y at the top of the screen is 0. Y at the bottom of the screen is the height in pixels. So a positive value of 1 means it's something underneath us. But we got to check to make sure it's relative because we're checking underneath our own object. So that's if a position is collision-free. So we want to go to Control, and we're looking at this question that says check empty. And remember, it's a Y of 1. We're going to check relative. So X of 0, Y of 1, only solid objects, check relative, click OK. Next step, if it's free, if there's nothing under us, we're going to want to set the gravity. And the gravity we're going to set in move. So click on move. There it is. That's gravity. Now, I should point out that I discovered with gravity, you don't have to check relative, because gravity is something that keeps getting applied. Now, the direction is based on 360 degrees, between 0 and 360. And it just so happens that 270 applies a downward gravity. And we're going to give it a value of 0.5 or 0.5. Make sure you got that point in there. So I added the 0 in front of it. Okay, so anyways, I set gravity, and then I want to check to make sure that we're not falling. In fact, actually, before I do that, I'm sorry, I'm going to set the gravity to 0. Sorry. I forgot we have to do that first. So we go to Control. I'm going to put an else block there. So if it's not collision-free, in other words, there's something under us, we need a gravity of 0. Same direction, though. Direction 270, gravity 0. Click OK. And don't check relative. I don't think that's what we want to do. Yeah, no relative. And now we're going to set terminal velocity, which we're going to set to 12. And so in order for that, we're looking for the variable. Now, let me go over something about Gamemaker. There is a programming language called Gamemaker language. And we have a help file. Watch this. There's a thing called vSpeed. vSpeed is related to vertical speed. See that? Okay, vertical speed right here. Now, you see all these variables here, x, y, h speed, v speed, direction. These are all variables that are built in to Gamemaker. So v speed is the vertical speed of any given object. Okay? H speed would be horizontal. So we go here, we're looking for vertical speed, and we're going to do a check. And we're checking a variable, v speed. Checking to see if it's larger than 12. If the variable vertical speed is greater than 12, in other words, 12 pixels down every loop 30 times a second, if it gets any greater than that, 12.5 or greater, we're going to set it to 12. So if it's larger than 12, set v speed to 12. So it'll never go faster than 12. Click OK. Okay, so that's how we do terminal velocity. I'm going to grab a little comment here. This is a comment. So there we go. So I added a little comment for terminal velocity. We can't go any faster than 12 down. And that is our step position. This is gravity. It acts on us if there's nothing underneath us. If there is, and then as our vertical speed gets greater than 12, it can't go any faster. So our next step is we need a block that when it lands on the block, it stops moving also. So we need to have that collision free. So we're going to add a collision. So we want our collision event, and it's a collision with the block. Okay. Now, one of the things we're going to have to do is if we have a vertical speed of 12, and we just have a standard collision, it's going to embed itself 12 pixels down, and we don't want to do that. So we have to do this thing called move to contact, I believe it's the name of it. It's under move, and it's right here. It's move to contact. There it is. So it's move to contact in a direction. So what we need to do in move to contact is get the variable for direction. And if you look at the Gamemaker help file, you will see that direction is the current direction of motion in degrees. Okay. In this case, it's probably 270, right? But we're just going to use it as a variable. And you know what this does? By setting direction, it says what direction are we looking at to contact, and it's anything below us with a maximum of 12 pixels. So since we set the terminal velocity at 12, we're going to set this move to contact at a maximum of 12. So basically, it'll allow us to not embed ourselves into the block. So just go ahead and click OK once you got that. And so once you collide with the object, we also need to set the vertical speed right here. Set it to 0. And I'm pretty sure you're not checking relative. Nope, you're not. Click OK. So there we go. So let's test this out. We need to create a room. So I'm going to create my room. There's the room. So let's get this window a little bigger here. There's our room. And let's add some blocks to the room. Which object of mine is not solid? Well, let's find out. Object hero. No, it's not. Object block. Yes, it is. I'm not sure if that's essential or not, but let's find out. Let's look at our room. See, there's our hero up here. He's going to fall down. So let's test it out. See if that works. And there he goes. Did you see him fall? Let's run it again. I forgot I paused the video so you couldn't see him falling at the beginning, so I'm just going to let it load and run. But watch the little smiley face fall, hits the block, he stops exactly on there. Now, the only problem is I can't move left or right and I can't jump, so let's do that. I'm right now at 9 minutes, 50 seconds or so, so I'm going I'm going to stop this one and create a second video, and on the second video, it's going to have movement, left, right, and jumping. And then we'll move our smiley face into that little valley there, and we'll try to see if we can get him to fly off the screen by moving all the way to the left.